Good morning, good night. After a lot of research and talking to people that know the Evora, the wheels that I ordered are here. Let's get them on the car. Fit test.
So lifting up a mid-engine car is always exciting because here I am lifting up the jack in the rear and the whole front of the car comes up as well. Got to be careful not to get under there. Notice I put the jack stand in and it's kind of hidden in this picture, but it is indeed there. Now at this point I'm taking off these lug bolts. I'm used to more traditional studs that you'd put a lug nut onto. These are different, so the whole bolt comes out of the hub, and I'm struggling with that last one. So basically it's because that last bolt is actually holding on the entire wheel, and so I'm now putting my feet under the tire and supporting the weight of the tire, kind of pressing upwards and releasing the pressure on that bolt. Obviously don't do that without a jack stand.
I've got a box. I've got 4 boxes. I've got 4 right here. And it shouldn't be a surprise. 4 things probably related to the wheels. Sure enough, they are. Boom. Went with the PF01s. Offset sizing, front and rear. Oh, I gotta see what these things look like.
The weather in Pennsylvania is crazy. It's like a rare spring warm day, and it was literally snowing like 2 days ago when the wheels were delivered. I don't know if you saw that at the beginning.
Don't drop this. There we go. This is what we're working with. Boom. Beautiful. Hello, baby. Never seen a wheel this clean before. Never bought new wheels before, so fresh for me. Made in Japan. Let's do it. Make sure it fits.
Again, we're working with these lug bolts, which means we have to support the wheel so it doesn't fall right off the hub. And then you've got the Lotus key as well to deal with. So a lot of little things that we're working with. And I'm just trying to support it and just try to fit test it here. Now, I do want to show you here that this is not hub-centric, right? So the wheel can move around on the hub, or the spigot as they call it. Basically, you got to make sure that you get this centered or you're going to have vibrations, and we can't have that.
That looks awesome. It's gonna look so good. Plenty of caliper space on the front brakes, which is good. Plenty of space there.
Definitely want to give a shout out to Greg at GRP, Greg's Race Parts. Thank you, brother. Thank you for hooking me up and working me through finding some crazy offsets and sizes and shapes and everything. These wheels look really good. I can't wait to actually get some tires on them and roll out and use them.
TPMS sensors, because it's gonna bother the crap out of me if you know, they all read like as 0 or read as like error. So definitely need the new set of wheels to have that. Really appreciate that we have really good vendors that care about the Evora platform and want to see owners happy, want to see people drive the cars.
By the way, you might be wondering how much the wheels weigh, and I did take care of that. So that's 17.8 on the front wheels, and for the rears, I did them as well. Oops. Crashed the GoPro there. That's 19.8. By the way, why am I even working on new wheels? Actually, the wheels on the car are fine, but when you start doing really sticky rubber, like I want to put on these new wheels, it's helpful to have a second set. So what I realized is the OE wheels like these that I have here, they're almost $900 per wheel, and that's just too much for a wheel. So I wanted more of a knockaround wheel, and you can see here some of these forged ones are $1,500 or even up to $2,000. So for the autocross and some of the other stuff that I'm doing, it's really just too much. I want to have a wheel that I could replace if I need to and not break the bank. And I really did look all over the place. I mean, here's Fitment Industries, and you can see they have tons of custom wheels, but for the Evora, they don't have a lot of options. I did really like the set here of Advans on this red one, and of course I have a red car as well, but they're gorgeous, but they weren't exactly what I was looking for. And sometimes you just want to make sure that the fitment, the clearance, everything you need is going to work like you want it to work. So that's why I ended up at GRP. I figured it was good to have somebody with experience. Boom, he's got these right on the website, and he runs them on his track car, his track focus Lotus Evora, which is pretty sick. I mean, look at that; it's a beast, right? And he was saying that basically he's jumping over curbs on track and stuff, and they've just held up really well for him. So he's been very happy. And look, some of this is like, I want to support the vendors, I want to support people that know what they're doing, and get some real advice as well. Now if you have the bigger size wheels like the 19s and the 20s, there's not too many options. You might do these light speed wheels. Don't get me wrong, they're gorgeous, but they're definitely out of my price range and in my, so there you go. You can see the wheels, the size and fitment there. But not really the use case that I was looking for. Or, of course, you could always jump over to Hethel Sport, and I've dealt with these guys as well. They're great. And, you could do the BC Forged wheels, and they have a whole set of wheels from the BC Forged. But same thing here. You're looking at a price that is really just out of my budget, and at that point, very similar to the OE wheel.
So let's get into this wheel info, and I'll tell you what I can figure out here. So the Lotus original equipment wheels, the gray ones that I have on there now, they are 18 in the front and 19 in the rear. They're also staggered by width, so they're 18 by 8 inch up front and 19 by 9.5 in the rear. And that's pretty standard now. There were optional wheels for 19 fronts and 20 rears that you could have gotten as well, so you have to check what's on your car. Now, I got the weights from this Tech Wiki. Long story short, it's 22, almost 23 pounds for the front wheels, almost 28 pounds for the rear wheels, with a total of about 100 pounds on all four corners. So that's actually fairly heavy. The Enkei PF01 wheels that I got, I will make a note here. That is a mistake. The fronts are 18s. The rears are also 18s. Now they are staggered. They're also, so the widths on these are both the same. This is a 9.5 and a 9.5 for these as well. So I've gone with the same width, but I've gone down in 1 inch for diameter. And we'll get into why that I did that. These Enkeis, when you take a look at the weight, you're saving quite a bit of weight per wheel. So 17.8 is what I measured, 19.8 is what I measured for the rears. And that's a total of 75 pounds of wheel on the car as compared to 100 pounds of wheel. And that should be very significant. I mean, it's 25 pounds, 26 pounds or so of wheel that is unsprung mass, unsprung weight that you don't have to accelerate or decelerate or move it around. So very interesting. A couple of notes here. The rear wheel diameter, I already mentioned this, but the rear wheel diameter dropped from 19 to 18 inches, right? So why are we doing that? It basically helps with acceleration. With a lighter weight wheel, you also have possibly a smaller outer diameter tire. We have to be careful we're not going too small. We don't want to go like notably smaller than the front wheels, because then it messes with the ABS sensors. They think that the car is slipping, or it's wheel spin at all times, which is not the case. And then certainly with a smaller wheel, you get cheaper and the wheels themselves are cheaper, and of course tire options are greater and cheaper as well. And there is a question here on the accuracy of the speedometer. I don't generally know if it's going to make a big difference. If we've gone, in a totally smaller outer diameter, I think that's something worth checking. But it shouldn't be off by much if it is off. So I will report on that later. Another note, finding wheels with the right offset is a total pain. Just finding the right wheels for this car is very difficult. You think there's a ton of options, and as you check through the boxes, they just drop off. So what we're dealing with here for the OE wheels, basically these are the offsets, the 52 and 55. Again, that's a plus 52, plus 55. And for these, we're plus 48 and plus 45. That is about as close as I could get to the correct offsets. You'll find that they're non-standard. Unless you're getting a custom wheel or you're paying a lot, you're going to get this. So ultimately what this means is the wheels on my car they're going to be out a little bit more, pushed out a little bit more than they were originally on the OE car. And basically, I think it's going to be okay. I mean, everything I see is that the wheels are sort of inset currently. So this should give us more of a flush fitment. But, ultimately, we don't want to go too far. Otherwise, you start having rubbing or other issues, and it doesn't fit under the fenders. Bolt pattern is the same. Obviously, you're not going to change that. And this is a pretty common bolt pattern, so that is not an issue. That is very common. Wheel widths, I will say that, if you want to run 4 of the same type of wheel, which basically you want to run, right? That you buy a set of 4 that all look the same. So if you're not mixing and matching, you're really going to struggle to find wheels that are 18 by 8, and then also all the way up to an 18 by 9.5. There's not a lot of options that give you both this width and this width. And these these PF01s, not to be confused with the RPF ones, also made by Enkei. These PF01s come in the 8, 8.5, and 9.5 widths. So really nice, plus a bunch of pretty reasonable offsets. They're the closest offsets we could find. By the way, I did look into the RPF ones, the sort of legendary wheels from Enkei, but they don't have the right widths available. And I think offsets were weird as well. The last comment here is just that the hub spigot size is a 68.1 millimeter or 68 millimeter, and I kind of see it listed in a couple of different places differently. I actually see it 68.0 and 68.1. Regardless, it's there. The Enkei wheels have a 75 millimeter center bore, and the reality is, well, that's common for aftermarket wheels. You're going to have a larger center bore. You're not going to have a hub centric wheel. Let's just be clear about this. When you install the wheel, it's not going to be hub centric. So you might need a hub ring, or you might need to figure out how to get that wheel on there with a method so that you're bolt centric or lug centric, but you still have the wheel on correctly, so it's not offset and you're not getting any vibration. So yet to be seen, right? I haven't dropped the car on real wheels and tires yet. I have a couple of hub rings on order. Guess what? Also, the normal hub ring sizes don't work. You're going to have to get them custom made. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I have, that being said, even a custom set of hub rings is only going to cost you somewhere between $50 to $100. I actually have some on order, so when they come in, we'll try it. In the meantime, I'm going to see if I can do it on lug centric and see if that causes any shake. Obviously, if it shakes, it's no good, so we'll see if we can get that done right.
By the way, I want to give a special shout out to Donor Sizemore. He's a national level SCCA racer that drives, of course, the Lotus Evora. So he's been, super cool about me pestering him with all types of annoying questions of, wheel offsets and wheel widths and what about this and what about that and why can't these wheels work and stuff like that. And he's been really cool to help me out along my search. So Donor, appreciate you, man. So at the end of the day, I'm really excited. These wheels look so good. I know that as soon as I get these wrapped in some tires that are coming soon, I'll show you what they are. I'll show you what I decided to go with. Something a little bit sticky and summer for some really good traction and going wide as we can on these wheels. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, stick around for that. And of course, once we get that done, you'll actually be able to see the car on those wheels driving around.